Let's fucking roll.
Hey, this is Gina from Live Music Junkiez, and I am here with Ray and the Ragdolls. We're going to get started. Hi. So glad that you're able to come in. First off, I love the two songs that you just played.
Thank you so
And
much.
I would love to learn a little bit about the first song you played, Moon Tippers. Like where did you come up with the name, the lyrics, everything behind that song?
Cool.
That's very convenient because she always tells that story
I
before
always
we
tell
play
that
it
story.
live.
It's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
So the song is a love song, but there's some lyrics so the song is called Moon Tipper because there's this thing that we started doing with our friends, I don't know, probably a year ago or something like that.
Ago.
Yeah. Where you go out into a big open field or just an open area and you stare straight up at the moon or a star and you focus on it and you spin around as fast as you can.
Oh,
And
wow.
then one of your friends comes and shines a flashlight in your eyes and it makes you fall, but
Without fail, you
yeah,
just
without
stumble
fail,
down.
you will always stumble. And we would always try and see who could stay
stand up
standing the
longest.
longest. But yeah, so it's actually called star.
It's called
tripping,
star
I think.
tripping, but one of our friends called it moon tipping.
tipping?
So, we
So-
just
Moon tipping sounds
I like
yeah,
that too.
yeah, I like that better
So
too.
we went with that for that.
Yeah. And then there's a lyric that pertains to this guitar. It's a Rickenbacker
360.
360, and it was it the first guitar that you
It
recorded?
was the first electric guitar that I had when we started the band, and we tracked multiple songs in our first EP so long ago on that guitar, and I ended up selling that guitar because it's not really a versatile instrument, and I wanted something else that I could use for every song we did. But I was so sad, and I missed that guitar, and I really wanted to buy another Rickenbacker, and it was, gosh, it's been 5 or 6 years, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go try to find one. And we were on tour in Nashville, and I was going to all the cool guitar shops there trying to find a Rickenbacker to buy, and I couldn't find any in my price range, so I was kind of bummed. But we got home and I went on Facebook Marketplace and I just typed in Rickenbacker. And the first thing that came up was my exact guitar.
Oh my
Someone
God.
selling that exact
and
one.
you sold that thing in
I sold it 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I
And
never
it
thought I'd
just
see that
happened to be
again.
there. It's
And it was
crazy. It was
undervalued for.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got it for a great
it was
price.
the
I was
universe was like, hey, you wanted that guitar
was like,
back?
buy.
Here you go.
That's awesome. Great story.
It is a lot of great moments
Yeah,
involved
there's-
in that song. So it's just
Yeah.
always makes me happy to play that
Yeah.
song.
It made me very happy to hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to actually go a little bit back to the band and starting the name. Where did the name? I know where Ray, I guess, comes from, but the Ragdolls. How'd you come up with that name?
So I originally started it as a solo project. Or I was planning on just having a solo project. But then Will and we were in a band together when we were teenagers, and I was like, hey, do you want to play on
Some old songs.
some
you had
songs? Yeah. And he was like, yeah, sure. And so we started recording the music together, and then I was like, hey, why don't we just form a band? Because
Yeah,
we had a
started.
band when we were younger, so why not just form another band? And so it started as Ray, and then it was okay, what should we add? We wanted something with alliteration because it's just very satisfying. It rolls off the tongue well. But
There were a few
yeah.
Ray and the Retribution, Ray and the
Yeah.
I don't remember. There were a lot of options.
Yeah,
but that one
and
just
Ragdolls, I was like, oh, it's kind of like you're dancing like a ragdoll. Our music makes you
Yeah,
dance like a
funny.
ragdoll. So we were like, let's go with Ray and the Ragdolls.
Mhm.
So that's what we chose.
And you said y'all played together as teenagers. Were you in
Yeah.
the same school, or how did you
we
meet?
did. There used to be it's sort of School of Rock.
Oh yeah,
It was like that, but it was called Rock U, and none of the places are open anymore. But we
Shout
did.
out Dave and Russ.
Yeah, shout out Dave and Russ. But we did Rock U, and we would do band camps in the summer, and then there was a year-round program where you would go and practice like once a week with your band, and
Mm-hmm.
we like it was supposed to be a thing where you would like learn tons of music by tons of different bands and stuff, but like we just loved the
Oh,
Red Hot Chili
we
Peppers.
were like
So
obsessed with the
we were
Chili
just
Peppers.
like, no, we're just playing Red Hot Chili Peppers
Yeah,
songs.
so we basically became a Chili Peppers cover
Cover
band
band.
pretty much. And we actually weren't in like the same band like the first like summer camp that I went to there. And or I guess the first and the second, we weren't in the same band, but I wore a Chili Peppers shirt, and then he saw that I had a Chili Peppers shirt on, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to like
I'm gonna ask her to play.
yeah, like, do you want to play in my band? Like, you have a good taste in music." So that's when we were like, all right, let's do it. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So you mentioned Red Hot Chili Peppers. Any other super big band that's been like a big inspiration to your music style?
Oh man.
I think what's kind of nice about the band is, so we're a 5, sometimes 6-piece band, and everyone has like a
Their
really like
own
eclectic taste in
influences,
music
yeah.
and stuff like that. Like,
Probably like the biggest influence, at least when the band first started, like on Sunshine and a Shadow volumes 1 and 2, which are our first 2 albums. Very like heavily inspired by like Led Zeppelin, Cream,
there's Tom Petty and the Heartbreak
Cagey
Bears.
Elephant a little bit, Tom Petty. But yeah, like Will was saying, it like all of our band members are inspired by different people. Like Olivia, our bassist, she is like super into metal,
Metal and like
metal and like
pop punk and stuff. And
Yeah.
then our guitarist Spencer, he's into jazz, but he also loves Jimi Hendrix, and he also loves hip hop. And like I'm into like classic country and like folk music, like John Prine and Neil Young and stuff. And
I'm more into like indie type of
Oh,
stuff.
you literally have everything.
so like it sort of like gets to a point where in the past and like past projects that I've done, like it's been like, oh, I'm really in the mood to like write some like something a little more country or a little more indie or a little more punk or something like that. It's like, oh, I can't do that in this band, but with this project, like
It's like, let's
what-
just do it.
Yeah.
Who
If something
cares?
seems like
Let's
a
do it.
little
Yeah.
a little out there for
Yeah.
like a rock band, I still want to do it.
Yeah,
And,
because
like,
it's like, what's the point if you're not like writing music that you like really enjoy? You
Yeah.
know? So it's like if you want to like go outside of the realm of your typical genre, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Just do it.
I just love being eclectic.
Yeah, everybody's so genre fluid now.
Mhm.
I find that when I'm trying to look up bands to see what kind of music they
Yeah.
are, it's like, how
Yeah.
many genres can I list here? Because most of them
Right.
are 4 or 5 or
Yeah.
6. They really just
Yeah,
cover
and
everything.
it's crazy, you know, because it's like I feel like you can be into a bunch of different genres and still sound like yourself. Like
Right.
I think that even though we play a lot of music that belongs to different genres, like if people heard us, they'd be able to be like, "Oh, that's Ray and the
I
Ragdolls."
recognize. Mm-hmm. Yep. No. And how many albums do you have out now?
We have 1 EP and 2 albums.
Okay.
And then we have 2 singles out right now for the album we're currently working on.
Yes, go ahead and give those a shout out.
So one of those is Moon Tipper, the one that
Okay,
we played.
yes.
And then the other one's called Rock and Roll as a Woman. And
Oh,
very big
I
on
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then earlier on, All I Want to Do Is Love. That's from our album,
Sunshine in a
Sunshine
Shadow, Volume 1.
Volume 1. Yeah.
And,
Okay.
yeah, so we're working on that 3rd album, and
Yeah, we're
it's also pretty eclectic. with
currently
the
working on
music.
a very close to releasing another single, which like
Very, very
super
close.
excited
It'll be
about
this
it.
year,
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably like
early December.
December. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Very
gonna
cool.
be very exciting.
Yeah.
I'll
Time in the
be
making.
teasing it a lot.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be real cryptic.
So since everybody contributes to the songs, I'm guessing everybody also contributes to the set list. Boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I end up writing like a set list, and then I'm like, "Are y'all good with this?" But everyone's
Okay.
always got opinions, and I
Yeah.
want to hear them. You know,
Right.
like sometimes like I play so many shows and stuff, and occasionally like we'll have like those 3-hour shows where you play all your songs, and then you play some covers, but then we get like a 30-minute time slot somewhere, and
Oh my
it
God,
gets
so-
so hard to pick
It's so
songs at
tough
that point.
with 30 minutes. It's like
Yeah.
it's like I think the perfect time is probably like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the
That's
perfect
ideal.
amount because it's not too much where it's like exhausting, but it's not too little where it's like, what are we gonna play?
I know,
Which ones
which
do we
one is-
choose?
Also, like half an hour, like by the end of the set, you feel like you're just getting warmed up, and then you're
Right.
like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song that you like to play? That's just it's a given. I'm gonna put that on a list regardless. We just love playing a song.
Favorite song.
I think I lean towards Moon Tipper.
Yeah, I do too,
actually,
I
just
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like singing with her, and that's like one that I
That one just
do
means
harmonies
a
a
lot,
lot,
you know. It's like
and it just
it's a
it's a
really
special
meaningful
song.
for us. So it's always like so nice to play it. And then I guess as far as like other songs go, the one we're working on right now, I think that one is probably one of my favorites too.
It's called Eyes of a Stranger.
Okay. And what's the background on that song?
That one is basically like about people growing up in like a broken home, and they kind of like, you know, there's people who when they grow up in a broken home they'll grow away from it, and then there's people who will just kind of grow up to be like the person who made that a broken home. And so the song is basically saying like, if you're from a broken home, know that like that doesn't define you, like who you are. Like you can grow and become your own person. You're not like subject to just grow into the person who made your home a broken home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a heavy song.
It
But,
is.
Yeah.
It is.
But
Yeah, we were listening to
it's-
the mix of it the other day, and then you were like, man, this song's sad.
Yeah.
We just get so used to it. We play it so
Yeah.
much that like
Yeah, like you
don't
don't
even
because like
notice
when
how
you're
sad
you
it
know when
is.
you're playing it and stuff, like you get into the feels, but then like when you're listening to like the actual recording of it and you're listening to the lyrics, you're like, dang, like I wrote that. That's so sad. But like
As long as all your songs on
yeah,
That's why you got the
Pick
All I
people
Want
back
to Do
up.
Is Love's
yeah,
in there.
and yeah, and that's another thing too is, you know, like with as far as sad songs are concerned, you know, it's kind of like you could stray away from the sad songs, but I think that sometimes sadder songs make people kind of feel like understood, like they're like, oh, I'm not alone in like what I'm facing right now. So that's one good thing about sad
Oh,
songs.
yeah.
But yeah, that one's just a lot of fun to play, and like you can get into your feels a lot with it, and there's a really cool like bridge section in it. So I think
And it
y'all
has a good
enjoy
message
playing
too.
that
It's
part.
fun.
I like
Yeah.
I like the message of the
Thank
song.
you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
sounds
that.
great. I heard I think it was on a podcast. Somebody was telling a story about a father. He was in jail. I can't remember for what, but for many years. And they talked to both of his sons. One of them was very wealthy millionaire. The other one went to jail. And they asked the guy who was a millionaire, how did you become a millionaire? He said, isn't it obvious? Look at my father. He wanted to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And the one that was in jail, he asked him, he said the exact same thing. Isn't it
Yeah.
obvious? Look at who my father
Yeah.
is. He was exactly
Yeah.
So yeah, I get your
It's
story.
just
You
like,
can
yeah,
go
you know,
either direction.
It's
Motivate
the
you.
way that you choose to grow, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't make it easy, but
No, it doesn't make it easy at all.
Yeah.
But
You mentioned several times about being on tour quite a bit, going to a lot of shows. So I'm curious, what's, I guess, your best story, best place that you've ever performed?
man,
Best show, best festival?
we really like going down to Florida. I think that's like some of the
Who
best
doesn't
places.
like Florida?
Yeah, Florida's fun in
All right,
general.
awesome.
But there's a few places down there that we've really enjoyed. We did a festival down there a couple years ago called Bash. That it used to be like the Tom Petty birthday bash, and
Oh, cool.
that festival was great. And there were so many bands that we looked up
Oh my
to.
God, it was
like
awesome.
Mavis Staples played that, and
Tyler Bryant,
Brian
and
Shakedown,
Larkin Poe. And
Drive
so
By
like
Truckers.
being able to say that like we played at the same festival as like those people who are like so
Yeah.
great, it's like just awesome. Like it was such an honor to be a part of it.
And there's other places like there's a place called Colonial Oak Music
That's the
Park
one I was about to
down in St.
mention.
Augustine, Florida, and
it's just so cool.
People just like listening to music
Yeah,
there.
like-
Like sometimes you go into a place and like college towns sometimes, and you're playing those 3-hour sets, and you just feel like no one's paying attention.
Right.
you
Yeah, they're
know?
all drinking.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say Colonial Oak Music Park in St. Augustine, and also a place called Jack of the Wood that's in Asheville, North
yeah.
Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Every time we play in St. Augustine or Asheville, people like, we've had people in Asheville like will play like a cover to like eat up some time in a set, and then they say play more original music or play another,
Which is
original
crazy
song.
because, you know, like a lot of the time people don't really pay as much attention to the originals when they don't know your band,
Right.
but they love the covers.
Mhm.
But like in Asheville, it's like play more originals,
Yeah,
and that just
it's a
like
great
shows
place.
like I feel like Asheville is like such a cool city. 'Cause
They just
it's
appreciate
like,
art so
Yeah, they
much.
do, and they
Mhm.
like are really supportive of like independence. You know, like
Mhm.
independent music and independent businesses, and it's just like and small businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's just
gotta love it.
it's really awesome. It's so cool. And just like all the people in Asheville are just like, it's just such a welcoming community. Other than that, like as far as Georgia goes, I think my favorite venue, I feel like it's probably your favorite venue, is Eddie's Attic.
I love Eddie.
Yeah.
It's-
That is a great
It's so
venue.
good, yeah. And
It
the
is.
sound is awesome.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
single time, it's awesome.
Shout out Michael, sound guy.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Michael.
Yeah, it's a great listening room.
It is, and
That's
they do like
small.
you can put a
quiet.
full band and a drum kit in there, and it still sounds great in that room. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Every show has great
And then if you
sound.
want to, you can move the tables and people can
You get a
dance.
dance floor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So both of the places you mentioned, because I'm adding them to my list to go and visit, they're both restaurants, breweries. What kind of music
Jack of the
venues?
Wood is
A bar.
it's a bar and a restaurant.
Yeah, like a tavern, I guess.
Tavern's a good way to
Yeah.
put it. And Colonial Oak Music Park, it's like it's sort of like this little like almost colonial pirate themed tourist town that's
Oh.
in St. Augustine.
It's really
and there's tons of
interesting.
shops
Yeah.
and restaurants.
There's like a whole entire fort, like a
Oh, yeah.
Spanish fort that's nearby.
Castillo de San
I
Marcos.
do know about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And
It's right
like-
across the street
It's
from there.
so cool.
Oh, okay.
But-
And the music park, like you could just go
Yeah.
get food at all these surrounding restaurants, and then there's like
I know
bands
they have
playing.
they have like drinks
Yeah,
at Colonial Oak
Yeah.
specifically. Like it's like this little like courtyard type thing.
hmm the super old oak tree, like right
yeah,
in
That
yeah.
is
like,
super cool.
the middle, covering
Yeah,
everything,
it's
and
so cool. Yeah.
it's just awesome place, good vibes, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, like we've played so many venues, and like there's just always like so many great vibes. You meet so many great people, and meet a lot of weird people. But,
Yeah.
but those end up
Lots of-
being just
lots
like
of funny stories.
those
for
end up
sure.
making the
That'll be
drive
my next
between venues
question about
fun. Yeah.
any weird, quirky story or anything that happened on a road trip.
Where do we even start?
I know, it's like it's one of those things when you hear it, you're like, oh, I can't even think of all that. What do you think?
Well, I gotta say, I think like we played in Knoxville recently,
I
and
was gonna go Knoxville.
Knoxville is like it's a really pretty city, and the people there are really cool. But I think that is probably
Some strange folks.
the
there.
strangest
They were
people
very
like,
nice
in the
people,
audience. They
but
were very
they
nice,
were quirky.
but they were very very strange.
There was this there's old cowboy there
Oh,
at the
my
bar,
God.
and gosh, I'm gonna guess like mid to late 70s, white cowboy hat, western shirt tucked in with a big belt buckle.
Okay,
And
I can picture
he would
that.
just walk around and he'd like come up to the stage and dance like this, and he was just
Also, like I don't know if it's because like he's rich and everybody knows him or something, but like
oh man,
apparently he's there all the time.
he's there
too.
all the
Like,
time. We found out from another band
Yeah.
that goes there, but
Okay.
he was picking up young beautiful women like
It
constantly.
was crazy. Like it was so wild. Like he went up to this one lady and he just like he would shuffle over to them and he would just look at them like and they just loved it. That like one of the ladies like grabbed him and started like dancing with him all seductively, and then her friend like looked at her and was like, are you seriously dancing with this guy right now? And it was so funny. Like Olivia and I just looked at each other and we're like, this guy just pulled this lady. Like, how
And
did
we're
that
like on
even
stage
happen?
playing, and like we're getting like a show ourselves,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, for
watching what's
real,
going
yeah.
on.
Honestly, like, yeah, it's really like
You can
you're
people
getting
watch
your,
on stage a
You're
lot.
getting
It's
your
pretty
own
fun.
show. Sometimes I don't even think people realize that we can see them out there and everything that's happening.
Yeah.
But like,
Shout out Cowboy Man.
yeah,
Cowboy
shout out
Man.
Cowboy Man.
Okay. I think he would do very well at Johnny's Hideaway. Have you ever
Oh.
been here?
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Okay,
Where
it's
is
an
it?
experience in Buckhead.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And it starts off with older crowd, and as the night goes on, it gets younger and younger. But some of the older crowd, the ones that can dance very well, especially the men that can dance very well, they stay all night. And so they're dancing with the older ladies, and by the end of the night, they're dancing
Oh,
with
boy.
the younger.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, he would fit right in.
Oh,
Yeah, totally.
He'd run Johnny's.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, lots of funny experiences.
I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of.
Oh yeah, for
Like-
sure. There's so many. I don't even know. Like,
I always like you end up like we have a rule where if it's the end of like a string of dates we're doing and home is more than 4 hours away, we'll get a hotel. But if it's 4 hours or less, we're just gonna
Push
we're gonna
through.
go home. We're
Yeah.
gonna make it happen. We're gonna split the drive and whatever. And sometimes you just get
Oh
so
my
sleep
God.
deprived and like
Mhm.
and just everything ends up being
Yeah.
super funny and like
it's just like
Everyone gets
you just
really
come up with
weird.
the dumbest jokes, and you just say things that like when you're not sleep deprived, you just say things that you would isn't even funny. Like if you weren't sleep deprived, but the fact that you're sleep deprived just makes it hilarious because it's just like such a dumb joke. But then you're like sleep deprived, so you're just like laughing at yourself.
mhm. Or we're like passing a Buc-ee's at like 3 a.m. and everyone wants to go
Buc-ee's is
home. And
awesome.
yeah, I
have to
take them to
stop at
Buc-ee's. I'm like, do I want to go to Buc-ee's? And like no one answers. So I'm like, all right, we're going to Buc-ee's.
No one answers because no one wants to go. Like nobody else wants. I'm indifferent, but Olivia and Spencer and Josh or Owen, like they're just
I
like
did that like a few weeks ago. I like
You're like,
didn't tell them. I
"God,
just went to
no,
Buc-ee's
not
on the way home. And Spencer's like, did you think I wouldn't notice as soon as you pulled off? And there's the giant glowing beaver in the sky.
so
Yeah, it's a must
funny.
stop.
You got it.
And it's experience.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like one of the funniest experiences, like speaking of funny experiences and like driving home super late. One time we were driving home from Alabama and it was like super foggy, like such a foggy night. But then like off in the distance, you could
It was
just
creepy.
the only thing that you could see was just the Buc-ee's like logo.
He was
just,
peeking through the
like-
fog.
Yeah, it was so funny. We were like messing with Olivia, like
Yeah, Olivia was driving and you and I were just
Yeah, we
trying
were,
to
like-
keep her awake.
yeah, and like you started like doing a clown laugh or something.
Welcome to Buc-ee's.
Welcome to Buc-ee's, and Olivia was like, "I hate you guys."
How do you all balance with all? You're going to school, both of you are. I'm assuming the rest of the band probably is too. Doing all of these tours and schoolwork.
We do specifically weekends when we do schoolwork, and we try very hard to make sure our classes don't interfere with stuff. And
Yeah,
thankfully, all of mine, like I've been able to get online classes for the last couple semesters, and I just work on stuff when I can and when I can't.
that's pretty much how it is. Like, it is a lot to juggle, like
Yeah.
for sure. Like sometimes it can be really stressful, but
Mhm.
honestly, like even when we played at Outeroo, Dan
Bonnaroo,
Karasek,
Yeah.
Yes, I heard about that from
Yeah.
the knockers that you all were both
Yeah,
there.
we were camping with them.
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it was so crazy because like in between, like it starts to get exhausting when you're there, because
Yeah.
it's so hot.
Yes,
And
I
it was
there.
so
It was
so hot.
so
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
And you were studying.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
that's
studying, like I was taking like a US history class or something like that semester. And I guess it was last semester. But I was like taking a US history class and I had to study the Constitution. And like in between like the sets that we wanted to see when everybody would just like want to chill for a minute,
Mhm.
I would just like lay down and I'd just be like reading
You had
through
like a
my
pocket
notes.
constitution.
Yeah, like I had
Oh
a
my
pocket
God.
constitution that I was just studying. Like,
So we end up doing stuff on the road sometimes.
yeah, like
it's
sometimes
not,
you have to study in the
Yeah.
car,
Yeah.
or like if you like have to get something done, even like before the show, you know.
Like in between sound check and
Sometimes,
the show.
yeah.
Yeah,
Fit it in.
exactly. Sometimes
Mhm.
you just got to make it work, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much what we
we've
do.
found a balance.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's been good. And we've managed to play, gosh, it's gonna be between 60 and 70 shows by the end of the year.
Wow.
And I think previously we maybe did 50 last year. So
Okay.
we've upped that and done a lot more
And,
out
like,
of town shows.
Yeah, this year has been like so much better for out of town shows.
Mhm.
Like so many more than last year.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, slowly making our way up.
Up and west and all
Yeah, up
directions.
and west and whatever.
Awesome. If you could play with anybody, like open for any band, who is number
Oh
one?
my
Do you
God.
have right now?
That's such a hard question.
It is a tough one.
Or one of the ones on your list. I know
Yeah,
your list
go with
is way
one of
more
them.
than one. But
Honestly, even though she's like a very different type of genre, I think opening for Chapel Roan would be like
yeah.
that would be so awesome. Like
Yeah.
that would be like, yeah, like you said, a dream
Mhm.
come true.
Mhm.
As far as like other people,
I'm gonna do like,
KG Elephant or
oh
like,
yeah, that should be a good fit.
like that
I
would
feel
be
like.
awesome.
Did you see them at Bonnaroo?
We didn't see them
No.
because we came home, I think, the day before, but we've seen them like 2
Yeah,
or 3
Mhm.
times.
they're
probably.
great every single
Yeah.
time.
I
They're so
would
good.
say, Neil Young while he's still playing,
Okay.
or
Yeah, Neil Young.
I'm gonna go left field and say Orville Peck,
Oh,
Okay.
Orville Peck, yeah.
but there's so many.
Chapel and Orville, the gay icons of the
Yeah,
music
right.
world.
Okay.
and if the rest of the band was here, they'd have
I'm sure.
wildly
Very
different
different. I
answers
know.
to
Oh,
based
yeah,
on
so
their style,
different,
I'm
yeah.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
So different.
So yeah, so basically you would need to be opening at a music festival, right? 'Cause
Something
then
like
you gotta
that,
have-
yeah. Mhm.
Gotta have that. Okay.
Yeah, Neil Young would just be like,
Oh yeah, that's like
I think that's got to be like my number one. Like
mhm.
Neil Young is like, I just look up to him so much.
Yeah. I have one last question for you that I ask every
Cool.
band, which especially now that you all have been playing for a while and you're just growing every year. Any piece of advice to other artists or bands that are just getting started, or
I think a lot of times, like, no matter what you're doing as a band, whether you're starting to record music, you're starting to play live shows, you're starting to want to tour more and get out of the state and stuff, it feels really daunting to do a lot of those things. And I remember, like, when we were still trying to figure a lot of stuff out, I would like look at all these bands and be like, how are they doing that? Or like, this just seems so complicated, or like, there must be some secret. Just do it.
yeah,
Just
Yeah.
get out and do it. Like, just email venues, go find a producer, record your music. Just like, the more you do these things, the easier they become. And it just like, all these doors end up opening, and like, it's a lot of work. So like, I also would encourage, like, put your heart into it and
Yeah.
work hard when you're doing these things. But when you put out that work and that positive energy out in the world, it just opens doors, and that positive energy comes back to you.
I think I have like 2 pieces of advice. What you said.
Mm.
But don't make it about the money. Like, cause that's the thing is, you know, like when before we like even started the band, it was like, oh, you know, like like musicians get paid, like they don't get paid. They do not get paid. And so, you know, there's like, if you don't make being a musician your main source of income, basically, because it's just,
If you're doing like original music.
yeah, if you're
and
doing
stuff.
original music, I mean, cover bands,
Or
obviously,
don't
like if
worry
that's
about
your,
it anyway.
yeah, don't worry about it, because you know, it's just like you're gonna get worn out by it if
Yeah.
you make it your main source of income. and it's the main thing that you rely on, it's just going to wear you out, you know, because it's just going to be like so stressful. Oh my God, I got to get money for my rent I got to play this show and this show and this show. And eventually it just becomes a chore. It's not about the passion anymore. And so I think like that's super important. And
you keep pouring your passion into it, and then you end up getting better gigs, and then you end up making more money. And
exactly.
I love that you mentioned email venues, because I think a lot of artists think, oh, I just need like a booking manager to just do all of that, but you're just getting started. And
you got to get over that hump.
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing. It's like a booking agent helps a lot, but the thing is that like to really, you know, like build a name for yourself, you just gotta get yourself out there.
You're gonna send a lot of emails, and you're not gonna get a lot of replies.
Right.
Yep.
But that's fine.
But sometimes you will, and that's like the more important thing is like you
miss
send
all
an
the
email.
shots you don't take.
Exactly.
Love it.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for giving us a preview of the new song.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to see you all this Saturday at Chompenstall.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun.